back to Planet Tyro. I'm your host, Donald Wonder, and we're back again for guess what? Some more JoJo!
Oh, yeah, buddy.
JoJo. I can't even say do. How'd he go?
You can always do Dios, which is easier, I think, where it goes.
That's it. So anyway, guys, we're covering the next part of JoJo. Last time we covered Battle Tendency, we covered Phantom Blood, and this time we're going to be covering, what's it called, old boy?
It's probably the most famous of all the JoJo stories, called Stardust Crusaders.
Correct. And as usual, old boy's going to talk about some of the things he noticed with the manga. I'm going to be focusing, we're both going to be focused on the anime, but he read the manga. He's always been a big fan of this manga, the original source material. But this is another, actually this conversation in particular for part 3, we've got a lot to unpack. Because not only is this longer than the previous JoJo incarnations, but we actually saw an earlier anime version of JoJo when we spoke about it years ago. That was the first time we ever spoke about JoJo. It was this part of the manga. It was animated. It wasn't animated greatly. And now we've got the 2014 reanimated version, which apparently is more faithful to the manga, which old boy will get into. And old boy's been waiting for me to catch up, which I have now. I watched all 40 episodes. And just for the sake of compare and contrast, I actually went back and watched the older Stardust Crusaders as well.
You didn't watch the middle one? Because there was another release like in 2000. There
was. I watched that as well. I should have mentioned that. I did.
Oh, you found all the episodes? Because I can only find like half of them.
I found both. 94 and 2001, I found them both. But they all tell two people, you'll get the story. Don't worry. We don't want to confuse you guys. But anyway, firstly, we're going to focus on the 2014, the rebooted one. We'll get around to the older one because a lot of you guys didn't even know there was an older version of Stardust Crusaders. A lot of people still don't know. Does it even matter at this point?
I would say no. I mean, we're going to compare the two real fast. I like the final fight in the original hand-drawn one better, and that's really it.
Okay, we'll definitely find out why. And before we get started, people, should go without saying, spoilers ahead if you haven't seen this series, this part 3 of the manga or the anime. You don't want to listen because we're going to go into meticulous detail on the things that we liked. And actually, this time, I have to admit, I do want to skim through it, but there's so much I want to comment on in this part of the manga that is just so entertaining. This is going to be probably the longest one we've done so far, you know?
Alright, that's all fine with me, man. All I gotta say is, like, combined with the first 2 story arcs and with the following one, Diamond is Unbreakable, just so you know, because you might be tuning out because of spoilers, all 4 of those put together, Hall of Fame story for me, okay?
Okay, you're cheating. They're not all one story. You can't do that.
I know you can't. So, separate from it, I'm going to give it like a low solid B. I think it's above average for what it is.
You know what? I'm glad you brought this up first. Let's get this out of the way. After I watched the series, I thought to myself, I didn't think this could beat Battle Tendency based on my experience the last time I saw this in the other anime version, which, let's call it the crappier version, just to summarize. After I watched this one, I thought, you know what? I can't say it's superior because they take a lot of shortcuts and actually this is very different. But I have to say, man, for all these differences, I enjoyed it just as much. And if you remember, I gave Battle Tendency a Hall of Fame. So for me, Stardust Crusaders, for different reasons, I love it. I give this a Hall of Fame as well for me personally.
Damn, did I make you a JoJo fanatic?
Put it this way, man. I grew up at this time of anime, Fist of the North Star, Gaiva, this kind of anime is just catered towards me because of the comedy, because of the animation. It ticks all my boxes and it does it right. Nostalgia is one thing. Let's put that aside. The things it does exceptionally well that I've seen other animes do way after this, and this still supersedes and surpasses it. So for me, I'm like, God damn, how can something this old reanimated be so fantastic on so many levels? And there's things I don't like about it. We'll get there. But for me, I'm not just saying it based on nostalgia, on an enjoyment level. And again, this isn't the most complex or deep story.
Oh, hell no. It's super simple, man.
Yeah, I just loved it. It's a Hall of Fame show. It's one of my favorite animes, period. And I'll be buying this one. So I'm really hoping that, it will continue the trend. And apparently people are saying the next series is great as well. So god damn, they're on the roll.
Next story arc is my favorite story arc. Possibly, my favorite story arc of all time of any story. It's really good. So you really like the way it looks and everything, like the style, the character designs and stuff.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that first. The animation continuing the trend from continuing the style of what production. Why am I getting this wrong? What David Productions, the studio that have done the animation, did on the first two JoJo's. Again, they continue the trend. The animation is great. It's not an improvement on the rest. It's a continuation. Although two things I don't like, to my disappointment, and it's not because of animation quality is not good. It's just because it's not as impressive. The opening for these Stardust Crusaders, the first and second part. Yeah, even the music I didn't like at all. The actual opening music I didn't like. But actually, you know what? Scratch that. The first part, before they go to
Egypt,
the first 24 episodes, that opening is pretty good. I love the way it's very colourful. There's a lot of different scenes in there. Animation-wise, that's good. The one following, when they are in Egypt, didn't like it. And I just felt like the previous two openings were much better. But if you're talking about the series, I'm just summarizing. Animation was fine. Not seeing the new stands and the fighting was all good. Very nice, colorful, flamboyant when it needed to be. Very horror-ish. But that's got more to do with the story, and I'll elaborate on that. But I thought the animation was solid.
Oh yeah, it definitely looks really good and everything. I was actually talking about the character design more specifically because I know you love that hat. You love that hat.
We'll get to that. Well, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you're talking about Jotaro's hat.
Oh yeah, man.
When I said, let's go back a little bit. When we first did the podcast, the first thing I said is, you know what? This guy looks like, we're talking about the main JoJo with this Jotaro Joestar. This guy looks like a cross between Ken from the fictional star and M. Bison.
M. Bison? And by the way, it's Kujo Jotaro.
Oh, my mistake.
It's all good. I mean, he is technically a Joestar, but he's a grandson, and Joseph's daughter is his mom, so he lost the name.
Oh, okay. You're being so... That's what I like about you. You're very precise. But yeah, that's what I thought. When I looked at him, I looked at them all, I thought, yeah. And to be fair, everyone in the show looks flamboyant. All the enemies, all the bad guys, everyone. That's part of the charm of the show. But JoJo wears his hat all the time. And, since you brought it up, there was one particular... I'm going to bring it up right now. There's one particular episode where these guys were being attacked by a stand user that was using the sun against them. It wasn't the actual sun, but it was using the heat against them, and they were cooking. They were literally dying. This motherfucker still never took off his hat.
And fuck the hat. He didn't even take off his jacket or nothing. They didn't give a shit. They were just frying and like, oh, it's so hot, we're dying. And they wouldn't take off any of their clothes. Not that I wanted to see them do it, but still.
But that's what I was like, oh, come on. So, but yeah, no, I just, and there was two scenes. I think it's only 2 or 3 scenes where he takes off the hat. He looks like a Don. He looks great without the hat. But, anyway, it's such a minor quibble. He brought it up, guys. I know I didn't bring this up. He brought this up. I wasn't even going to bring it up.
I know, it's just because it's your pet peeve. I mean, but in terms of the whole JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I think probably the most iconic look out of any JoJo, any character, is the way Jotaro looks with the hat.
Sure, and we'll get, there's an episode where they play with his costume. You probably don't remember this, which I thought was hilarious, but we'll get to that. But,
you mean the guy that can change his look and stuff?
No. Well, I'll get to it. I want to surprise you. We'll get to that one, because it's one of my favorite episodes, actually. But although I would let you guys know, I love this show. But I'm actually going to start off on a bit of a negative.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear the bad stuff first.
So for coming from Battle Tendency, and I said this to you even before we started watching, even the first time I watched this thing, the one thing that I was like, was the power structure. Stands in general. Coming from Battle Tendency, where it's, another very anime, it's just an energy-based power. When I saw... the first episode where you see JoJo in the prison and he's locked himself away and this spirit is coming out of him, and just watching these spirits come out of the people to fight while the other characters just standing there, even though when they hit the spirits or when these stands get hit, they get hit, there was a disconnect. It didn't feel physical enough for me. Later on, I'm going to praise this later. So I'm being critical now. I'll praise this later. But when I just saw the stands, the disconnect, I was like, it doesn't really feel like fighting. It feels like, reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh! When they were using the cards and the cards will hit them and then they'll get hit, and then it took a while for me to get used to it. And then you told me, just wait. And then later, although my opinion didn't change of that particularly, the fact that the stands are disconnected from the people actually makes it better, in the sense that the powers that some of these stands have, if those powers were just given to the people themselves, it would have been too ridiculous, because it would have just been like these guys are just full of magic. But when it's a personification of their inner spirit, and they do these crazy things, like for example, we'll get to it, there's a stand where it's the whole ship. The stand is like the whole ship. It's very creative, and you can't, using that as a stand is a much more experimental and creative thing to do than just giving these characters these powers. So on the one hand, I'm criticizing it for saying, you know, there was a bit of a disconnect watching these guys sit there with their hands folded and watch the stands fight. But then on the other hand, it's very creative because they're so different, so flamboyant, and so powerful. You couldn't infuse that in a person without it seeming ridiculous, too ridiculous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's talk a little bit more about stands, because like you're saying it like whoever's listening to this recording knows what it is, and they should, because we're going to be talking about a lot of spoilers.
Sure.
But for people who didn't care, you know, who might not care if they get stuff spoiled, because let's face it, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, at least up to this point, you're not missing out on anything if it gets spoiled for you. Okay. What a stand is in the previous 2 story arcs, they used, like you said, an energy-based sort of fighting style where it's mostly like physical combat, martial arts and stuff, where they're punching them and stuff and making physical contact with their bodies. From that point on, that kind of ends, and in Stardust Crusaders, instead of physically fighting each other, what happens is all the main characters develop, I want to say like a fighting spirit's personification, like they can manifest their fighting spirit, and it's more of like a psychic sort of battle, but there's varying rules that can kind of bend or break in regards to the psychic power that they're using, where it can or cannot touch other physical objects and some other things. But the biggest thing about stands, and why I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure just took off from this point on, is the exact definition of your fighting spirit is different. It's a very personal thing in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So you have people who typically, you know, just like their fighting spirit's like a brawling sort of, I guess, ghost you want to call it. You said that, so we'll stick with that.
Sure. Like
sort of a personification of that. But there's others where like it's not even necessarily a humanoid sort of thing or even a living thing. So you mentioned there's like a ship, for example.
Yeah.
So, and then later on, there's other things too, where it's like, it's not even like they're manifesting anything. They can just do stuff. Like there's this guy in a different story arc that can create zippers on anything. So like he can disconnect people's body parts, or he can like hide stuff inside of a wall where it's like in an extra dimensional space where you physically cannot get to it unless you have stand ability. It's just, when I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, more than just prototypical, this is how you should do battle orientated fight from fight, kind of not super deep storyline, but you got great action sort of thing. This is it. It has ingenuity, it has freshness, it's been running forever. I mean, I think it started in the 80s, it's still ongoing. It has 8 story arcs, different protagonists every story arc. This is how you fucking do battle action orientated stories. This is how you do it, and nobody else really fucking figures it out. They make a main character, they cling to it, and this causes all sorts of problems. That you can just read comments on other series from other readers, and it's like they have terms like plot armor, blah blah blah, like where the main character cannot lose, and
sure,
all this other stuff.
Yeah,
you don't have that problem with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We've already talked about it in like previous ones. Like the main character fucking dies in one of them. He fucking loses and dies. So when it comes to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, anything is open. It's like a world of possibilities, and a lot of it has to do with when they moved on. I mean, at its core basis, the author's writing style very open to anything really. But when he introduced stand power and just the flexibility of it all, it just creates an entire universe of opportunity, and just anything you want to do, flexibility, you got it. It's there.
Well, that's what I want to say, because when I first saw it, JoJo, well, actually, we're going to speak about the main cast. Let's call them Team Joestar. We're going to talk about their stands and their powers first, but I just want to say, seeing Jotaro's stand first just seemed like a jack of all trades. It's like a big fighting monster that just comes out of him, and then a flame one. So upon my first viewing, I just thought, this seems, it just seems like they've taken, it just seemed they're very disconnected. But as you said, later you can see how creative separating the powers became, and I was very impressed. And it was something that grew on me very quickly, and I was just surprised. But I was hesitant at first. It was a bit of a negative, and I hope I've explained myself, because I know some people are going to feel, I can't believe he hated Stans. I'm like, yeah, I saw a disconnect. And you know what's funny? I compared it to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh! I was like, you know what's so funny? There's a lot of similarities. I know people are going to go, what? There's a lot of similarities between this and Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the monsters, the Egyptian gods, the way they used to fight. And again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has that system where, you know, if you get hit, they get hit. Very much like what JoJo did, but they use a whole card-based system. But with the monsters and the fighting, I was like, yeah, I can see Yu-Gi-Oh! Took a lot from JoJo as well. Like so many anime have, without a doubt. But I actually saw a lot of ties between JoJo and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh!, by the way, the original series, I fucking love it. For most of the same reasons, I love this anime right here, actually, which is even more surprising. The campiness, the bosses, the technicalness, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! Very technical as well. So I'm drawing those parallels. I'm sure you might disagree with me, but I thought there was some similarities there. Or I would say Yu-Gi-Oh! Drew a few good inspirational things from here. Well, I saw some parallels anyway.
Oh, I'm afraid I'm not super familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! I read like a bunch of the manga, but like fucking 10 years ago or longer than that even. So I don't remember it very well. I do remember the Egyptian themes and stuff.
The monsters, the power structure, the technical battles. Yu-Gi-Oh's mostly about the technical battles, especially the first season with Yu-Gi-Moto. When I was watching it, I just remembered the comedy, the fighting, and the stand thing with the monsters. It was very, I said, I see a lot of similarities. But anyway, I'm getting very going off base here. But anyway, let's get back onto JoJo. I want to talk about the Team Joestar, the main characters. We're going to go through the enemy stands. They're going to be the bigger part of the podcast, but I want to focus on the main guys first. So why don't we start off our main character? We've spoken about him a little bit, Jotaro.
Yes.
And I just want to say, this is what I'm about to say is negative, but even this isn't bad per se. He's the character I like the least in the show, and he's not terrible. But against everybody else, he's the one I like the least for a few reasons. He doesn't talk much anyway. He's the rule of cool dude in the show. He doesn't even have that much battles in the show when you actually tally them up. He doesn't have a lot of battles, but he's always a major part, and he just doesn't speak much. He hasn't got much of a personality. He's just a quiet, calm, cool dude. And in contrast to the previous JoJo's, that's fine. Very different. That's what makes him different. That's what makes him special. But there's things about him that makes him funny. He plays that calm guy very well. He even has elements of comedy there. And in this iteration of the anime, he was a lot better than the old one, which we'll get to later. But I just want to go through them bit by bit. Jotaro, out of all of the cast, he was the most boring, but I still enjoyed him.
I didn't really bother trying to rank him or anything, but yeah, I mean, Jotaro, probably not towards the front runners of who I found entertaining or I liked the most in the series. But in terms of protagonists, especially of this genre, I think he's pretty good, because there's a lot where most of the time they're not stoic like this. They're just not. They're actually fucking retarded and loudmouth, to be honest, which is pretty obnoxious. So it's kind of nice to have somebody who's super tough like this and everything, has a funny streak to him, but more than anything, very analytical, very smart. And you typically only get that from somebody who talks a lot as a protagonist. So that was kind of nice. I mean, not my favorite guy in the series, but I liked him. Yeah,
the thing is, most of the battles he had, he kind of knew he was always going to win, but they don't do it in one of those super anime hacks ways. Most of the times, there was a few times where he just figured things out very quickly. That's his skill set. And even you don't get much into his past, but you can see he was actually a very good student. He was much liked, and he seemed like a very nice boy. Only in the last couple of years, his persona kind of changed, which is kind of funny. They never really go into how or why that happened, but he seemed like he turned a bit into an asshole. Very
well. I mean, I have my suspicion he hates like screaming girls, and he's always fawned over by them in high school. So I think that's probably why he started becoming like an asshole.
Some of those pictures I've seen in anime shows, some pictures, he seemed like a little nice, kind of quiet mama's boy that just was a nice all-around guy. And all of a sudden, like it's at 14, he was a nice, nerdish kind of, just a quiet, nice homeboy. Then by 17, he was a bit like a school thug, which is cool. I know I'm focusing on him a bit too much, but and I was like, and those battles, as those battles came, whenever his battle came, whenever he had those episodes where he was the main stand he was having the fight, his battles were so amusing because he was always going to win through his coolness, and his wit. But ultimately, I was never really fearful for him. But there was one episode in particular where, oh man, it was too funny. But yeah, but let me move on to the other characters. I just thought he was okay character. But moving on, because it kind of goes up from here. But if I'm going in racks of characters I didn't really like that much, I thought, meh. The second guy I'll talk about is am I saying his name right? Avdol?
Abdul? Yeah, well, that's like the Japanese pronunciation, but his name's Abdul.
Abdul, well, yeah. He's a traveling friend of Joseph's Joestars. He's, well, you tell us a bit more about him. You know more about him than I do.
Abdul, unlike the other characters, especially Jotaro, Abdul has always had a very strong link with his stand. He was a fortune teller, and I think the stand kind of helped him with that in some way. But he's had it for a long time. He's actually the one that taught Joseph Joestar about stands, too, before Joseph came and found these other guys. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about that. He did run into Dio before anybody else, and he had the wherewithal to run instead of trying to fight him or cave into his charismatic, commanding presence. But, I mean, in general, Muhammad Abdul is more like, he's not quite the same mentor character level as Joseph, but he's a more mature.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's calm, sometimes he's just not calm. He's a little inconsistent, actually, from the beginning half. He disappears for a while, comes back, and he's like a lot more hot-blooded.
You know what? We'll get to this in a minute, but he has, I think his stand, Magician's Red, is that what it's called? It's really cool. And I think it's one of the coolest looking, but the writer didn't do him very well because he wrote him out for a while, and ultimately, you know, he gets taken out again. I was like, you know what? He's another one that has few solo fights. Actually, his only long solo fight is actually against one in another Joestar team, which is funny. Other than that, he plays a supporting character, and then he gets taken out super quickly in a very... It plays a point to the story, which I understand in terms of gravity of a character loss, but he never got a real chance to shine like the other characters, which is a bit of a letdown for me, because I would like to see... I feel like the other characters, other stands, we got to see a lot of their ranges. Even one of them we'll get to maybe too much in contrast to how much you see, but here's one. I want to see more of him, but just like you said, I don't have much to say about him, which is why I brought him up second, because his character is just one of them wise traveler guys, kind of stereotypical in a way. Nothing much to say about him, and he gets taken out through half of this first season, so I was like, eh.
Yeah.
That moves us on to another guy, I hope I'm not butchering his name. Is it Noraki Kyojin? Am I saying that right?
Kakyoin?
Kakyoin, there you go. I can't say shit. I can't say Japanese names.
Noriaki Kakyoin, although everybody just calls him Kakyoin.
And his stand is...
Hierophant Green.
There you go. And he's another one that I like him a little bit more. He's got a little bit more personality. He was one of the first rivals that shows up in the show. He was brainwashed by Dio. And again, he's another one. He's one you see a bit more, and he has a couple more fights in the show. You don't hear much from him again. Even actually near the end of the series, the very, very, very end, surprisingly, it gets a little bit more character intrusive with him, especially the fight with him and Dio at the very, very end. He actually says things about his parents and stuff, which was very heart-touching. Before that, he gets taken out of the second series because of something, just like Avdol did. And again, it was okay. I liked him. He was okay, but he didn't speak much again. He had one great episode, which we'll get to, which had to do with, let's just say, a Freddy Krueger type stand, which was, excellent. But yeah, there's not much I can say about him. I thought it was okay.
Lolly-ho! Kakyoin's pretty cool. I mean, I think more than Jotaro, probably less of a talkative guy, and I think more down key. Like, he doesn't have as much of a sense of humor. Just a quieter guy, I think. When you talk about Abdul and Kakyoin, Abdul's stand had a lot of potential. I mean, not just because how talented he was with it. There's a lot of times I think that writing-wise, Abdul got taken out because his stand actually was like super powerful, if you think about it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and then Kakyoin's, though, on the other hand, was more. I don't want to say it was weaker, but it had less flexibility. There's only a handful of things it could do.
I don't think the story did a great job showing me what his stand could actually do until the very end when we fought Dio, where he used his power in a very great way, which I was like, because he seemed like someone who could use his power in a very technical way, and you find it out with the Dio thing. But to be honest with you, like I said, he has a few good character moments through the show, but I don't want to spend too much time on him. He's okay. And look, I don't hate anyone on this JOJO team. I'm just going up the rank of who I like the most, the least to the highest. And that leads us on to the next character, which I'm sure I'm not going to butcher this name, but if I do, oh boy, that's why you're there. Jean-Pierre Ponareff.
Yeah, Ponareff. It's pretty easy.
Got it. Yeah, got him. So his stand is called the Silver Chariot. Now, this is a classic example of making a character I don't think is particularly strong in any way, making him a good comic relief. He has some major episodes. He actually has some of the most fights in the whole show, actually. He has 4 or 5 one-on-one battles, and they are some of my favorite episodes. And he's a character I love to hate, because he comes off very brash at first, very arrogant. He has that fight with Avdo in the beginning. Avdo takes him out, but then he comes and he's always a comic relief. We're going to get to the episodes he has, which are really fun. But I found myself watching the show saying, why is this guy getting so much screen time? Although he has one of the most compelling parts of the story at first, wanting revenge for the death of his sister, but halfway through this first season, that's kind of resolved, and then he becomes a recurring character, which some of the stand users pick on him. I don't know if they pick on him because he's silly or he's French or whatever, but this guy's funny, he's good comic relief. I think his stand is kind of weak, but very cool looking, but it's one of those things that it looks better than it actually is, in my opinion. And even his fights, the way he wins, to me, is a mixture of a little bit of cunning, but to me, more luck, which we'll get into. But I like him, and I think the anime spent a hell of a lot more time with him and made him a great comic relief, and that's what made him enjoyable.
Definitely one of the more entertaining characters to watch. I like Polnareff a lot, too. I mean, I think in terms of stands, his is a lot more power through things. I mean, his stand is very fast, and it has a high attack power when it hits. It uses a rapier. But there's some things it could do. Like earlier on, it shows he has the potential to do stuff. Like it can remove its armor and move like even faster. And he never does that again. Yeah. He does another technique where he shoots off the blade of his rapier, and he never does that again. And there would have been a perfect time, like when he was fighting Dio, where he should have done that, and he didn't. So I think he just sort of he could have been stronger, but they decided they wanted to make him more of comic relief, which is fine. He was very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, very, very entertaining to watch. But now we got to move on to my favorite character. And the funny thing is, not only I love this guy in the last series, and I loved him so much in that series, his younger self, but his aged older self, could I love him even more? I'm talking about Joseph Joestar.
I do. I mean, I told you that last recording too. I liked him better as old man.
Man. And let me tell you something, man. That older anime version that we're not speaking about yet, they didn't do him right, because in this series, he's a great comic relief. He's somewhat of a strategist. He's I wouldn't say he's a mentor to Jotaro, because Jotaro is kind of dismissive of him. But this guy, man, I don't even know where to start with him. He's just so funny. I mean, I guess he's mostly funny. And to be fair, he doesn't have a lot of episodes where he fights, but he's so funny, and his stand power as well has to be the weakest to me.
His stand is not really meant for fighting. I mean, in terms of this story arc, Joseph Joestar is really more of not even in terms of fighting, but just maturity-wise, more of a mentor character. Like, he doesn't really mentor over Jotaro a whole lot, because Jotaro is pretty mature, actually.
Yeah.
But the other characters who are more, like, emotional or reckless or whatever, he kind of reins them in, or he points things out to them and stuff. But definitely, you can see that even though he has arguably the least fighting ability out of anybody for most of the series, he still has it, and he still has a very sharp mind, which is what always made him a great protagonist in the original story arc he was in, Battle Tendency.
100%. And the fight, when he does have a fight, it's like you're watching Battle Tendency again. Well, no, it's like he's the exact same character, because I was fearing they would just make him into some feeble old man that, because his power is basically just future telling with some tentacle vines or whatever. I was like, I couldn't really understand how the future telling he could physically manifest that to be these vines he was using. But anyway, when he did get into a fight, his ingenuity is his main power, if you ask me, because there's 2 episodes. One episode in particular I'm about to talk about now is when this stand attaches himself to his hand, and he has to.
He's like, holy shit, with his bad English.
Yeah, and he just has to use his wits to beat him more than his powers. And I have to say, although I complain about Stans, they actually do mention that his power, Hamon, is in this series, and he does use it to little effect, and it makes sense. He tries to use it. Most of the time it doesn't really work, but he tries to use it to enhance his stand power. And, you know, but this guy is great comic relief. I loved seeing him. He played that part well. And now we can move on. Now we've done the main characters, we can move on with the story and how I just got to speak about certain things. I apologize, guys. I would streamline through it normally and just handpick my favorite episodes or whatever, but the reason why I love the show so much, of the 48 episodes, about 35 of them are fucking great. I mean...
And then even the ones that aren't great are still, at worst, I think, like, high watchable.
When we spoke about Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency, there's a lot of typical shown and stuff they do. And in particular, we got, you know, them learning about their powers, them training to use their powers. Stardust Crusaders, fuck all that.
Yeah, there's no training. They just plow right through it. They don't give a fuck.
They got their stance, they got their destination, they got their reason, and then from then on, it's for the most part, you know, stand enemy of the episode, monster of the week, whatever. But it just cuts the shit, and it makes this series different. And I know the next series is different in that way. That they're all different. That's this show cut the bullshit. This is the show where it just gets on with it. It gives you the episodic theme, but every episode has great variety, has great fun. And I kind of want to start just by going through the series after the point where they establish, you know, that JoJo's mom is dying because her stand's killing her, and they need to kill Dio to save Jotaro's mom. So they start their quest to get to Egypt. And then we get to episodes which I just love. But you know what? I spoke so much about the anime. I do need to hear your thoughts on the manga. And you know, as we go on, how do you feel? How you know? Just tell us right now, from the manga perspective, how do you do with the anime?
I'm gonna come out and say the anime and the manga, the remake of the anime that they just did, it's verbatim the manga. So then you're gonna come into, did I like it in manga form or seeing it animated better? I like seeing it animated a lot better. I mean, I love manga and everything, but some things, like especially the type of action they have in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I'm going to say it's better when you watch it actually moving and stuff as opposed to on a still panel.
Definitely.
Now, so going back to like how as a shonen show, they cut the bullshit with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Stardust Crusaders. Like there is no training. Let's get something straight. When they make you watch people train in an action series, you know, a battle series specifically, all they're doing is they're buying time and they're building up hype. What makes Stardust Crusaders great, you don't need any of that shit. It's just every episode you get a new sort of action scenario, action scene, battle. You don't have any of that, what feels like garbage time. You know, you compare it to something like Naruto or I guess Bleach. I didn't really watch Bleach, blah, blah, blah. Tons of filler shit, right? I mean, you could technically say some of the episodes in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that are less serious, like with Oingo Boingo, which was, you know, still really entertaining to me.
Yeah.
You can say those are filler, but let's get something straight. There's still action going on. It's still great to watch. I would rewatch them because I'm watching a battle series. There's a battle, you know, instead of pointless bull duty. I think there's like one episode where, actually not even the episode, there's just like a chunk of it where they kind of go back and show some stuff going on with Jotaro's grandma and stuff and his mom. Kind of important to the story, but I mean, in terms of 48 episodes, I finished it and I was like, okay, so when are you going to get this done? Because I just saw you plow through Walking Dead really fast, right? And you're like, dude, it's like 48 episodes. This is going to take me a while. I was like, it's not 48 episodes, is it? I looked back, it was so fast, it was so enjoyable. I didn't realize it was 48 episodes.
Yeah, and you saying that, the older anime version we watched, those were just 12 episodes. So I should have brought out first of all. When I saw this was 48 episodes, I was thinking to myself, really? Did they cut out that much of the manga? That 48, is that excessive? And I saw some comments while it was airing. Obviously I was listening to the ground and hearing what people were saying, and people were moaning, but it was a weekly, again, anime weekly doses. You're gonna get annoyed, and I guess some people didn't like the episodic theme, but for me, this was a laugh episode. And you know, I had no complaints. You know, like you said, it cut the bullshit. It was very episodic, and the storyline is just them getting to a destination, getting to the bad guy. It's like a computer game. That's it. Get to Dio, kill him. That's what they want to do. And the people who come in your way, it's a mystery. Who's it going to be today? And with some animes that was bothering me, but the creativeness in every single episode made me just like, I can't wait for the next one. I don't need to see a longer story arc. And you know what, actually, you could call this a criticism. I was actually surprised. Sometimes, a lot of animes, even cartoons, they have this thing where the bad guy, you always see him in the shadows, and you know, you see Dio in the first episode, yeah, and the first 2 episodes, then you hardly see him. Then all you see is the enemy stands. You even see people talking to Dio, but most of the time you don't see him and they'll hide his face. I like that. I like the fact that every episode you don't see, they beat another one. I can't wait to get my hands. It wasn't even like that. Dio, you don't even see Dio until near the end of the second series. And by that time, you don't care because the other enemy stands are so fun and so flamboyant. And I'm stopping our progression just to say this. I just had fun. Now, let me move on because you're going to make me keep praising this anime. And I got to be critical, old boy. I got to be critical.
But I think part of the thing that helps, though, is like a lot of series. Let's get this straight. Okay, a lot of anything in Japan is always centered in Japan. One of the things I loved about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is they go everywhere in the world, especially in Stardust Crusaders. They go from Japan all the way to Egypt, and it's not like a straight shot. They go from country to country, so you're having a change of scenery, like almost every episode or almost every battle, and it helps keep it fresh. It really does. Even though it seems like semantics, it helps it not seem like I'm just watching the same shit over and over. It's like, dude, one time they're in a crowded suburban area and it's modernized. Another time they're in a crowded suburban area and it's, you know, kind of impoverished and like crowded and dirty, and there's just like a lot of peasants and beggars and stuff. Everything is always different. They're changing it up. They keep it from being stale, even just the way the settings are. So, I mean, I know you wanted to start criticizing it, but I have mostly good things to say about it. This is one of my Hall of Fame titles, so
I'm trying my best. Well, you gave a low solid B, you liar. You gave the whole series
I gave the story arc a low solid B. A solid B, even a low solid B, is still above average. It's still better than most of the other stuff out there. It's just, I don't think it's like super great or anything. I like other parts of it better, or just collectively with all the other story arcs I mentioned, it fits all together really well.
Oh, okay. And that's why you're going to burn in anime hell. So anyway, let's move on to this fucking traitor. And let's talk about, look, man, I can't go through every episode. It's not enough time, guys. I'm just going to hit some highlights. Oh boy, chime in. Let us know what you think. So let's just jump a little bit. Basically, they're going from A to B, they go through so many different modes of transportation through the lands to get to Dio. And one of the points I want to stop at is there's a point where they get to a ship. We kind of hinted on this, and you know, there was a little bit of something disturbed me a little bit. So they lost at sea because one of their another boat they got on crashed. They fought some underwater stand. That was whatever. But they get to this boat, and there's a boat, and there's this monkey. There's this monkey in a cage on the boat, and this monkey's got a weird face, and they don't know why it's there. There's no one else on the ship. And the weird thing about this point, at this point in anime, there's this little girl that's been following the team, and I don't know who she was. I even had my notions, is she going to be some kind of evil stand user in disguise or whatever? Now, the reason why I'm bringing up this little girl, because this monkey, you kind of know there's something not right with the monkey. You kind of assume that he's going to be the stand user or whatever. This little girl, she's a tomboy. I didn't even know she was a girl at first. It's a scene where she's taking a bath.
Just take a shower, and the monkey tries to get it on with her.
Yeah, she's young. She looks like she's like 11 years old or something, and it's like...
Yeah, she is. She's definitely a child.
Yeah, it's really like, whoa, this is kind of weird, this monkey trying to have sex with a child or whatever.
Weird or bizarre?
See what you did there, you son of a bitch. Yeah, very bizarre. And that monkey, that fight, just it showing that an animal could have a stand. Again, this goes back to the creativity and beating my expectations. Wasn't expecting the monkey to be the stand user. That's fine. I thought, okay, wasn't expecting that. But then to find out his stand is a whole fucking boat, that just blew my mind. And the fight with JoJo was pretty funny, very funny. But I mostly just brought it up because it was one of the most creative things I saw. And even they were taken aback, like, fucking hell, we can fight stand users where they have so much power that they can, you know, create gigantic things and fight us with it. So that was the start. This was just the beginning. Yeah, so the next one I have to talk about. I don't know what city they're in, but they're in a hotel, and Polnareff goes up to his room, and there's this doll on the stand. He just wants to take a shit or whatever. And this fight he has with this doll, again, it reminded me of, you know, Child's Play, Chucky. The fight that Polnareff has with this doll is hilarious. It's very threatening. The doll has him stuck under a bed and is on top of the bed trying to stab him, fucking with him. And this is the kind of the horror elements, because at first you never see the doll's face when it's running around. It just reminds me so much of Chucky, and the way this doll is fucking with this guy. And the episode ends with the team not even finding out the fight that he had. He just got fucked up, but that was one of the funniest episodes for me. That was another funny one, just the whole Chucky thing.
I don't know if it was funny. I thought it was entertaining though. But I think what's funny though is Polnareff has a bad tendency to get attacked in bathrooms, as you'll see like throughout the series.
Exactly. Oh my god, we're gonna get to the next one with that.
Actually, that fight though shows. I think one of the things that helps a lot with the action in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is it's a lot less of how strong your stand is. I mean, there's exceptions to that, but it's a lot more of how well you can use your stand and what its abilities are versus what it actually can do. And I think Polnareff there is the way he defeats it is he uses like reflections or something from a broken mirror.
Yeah,
because he's trapped under the bed, so he can't see, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I was saying. Like he could have just like tried powering through it, like stabbing through the bed or something blindly or whatever. But instead, he kind of used his head, and that's not just unique to him. That's generally speaking how a lot of the battles are. It's determined by cleverness rather than power.
Do you remember this episode where this shapeshifter that kind of gets something melded on JoJo's hand, gets a part of his stand melded on JoJo's hand, and the more JoJo tries to fight the hand, the more it grows on his hand?
I do remember that.
And do you remember how JoJo beat him?
I think it had something to do with a sewer, right? A drain.
He took him underwater to kind of freeze it and lower his movement, and then beat the shit out of him.
And then the guy was like, he gave up, and then when he was just basically trying to buy time and blindside Jotaro, but he knew it was coming, right?
That happens every time. It's like, oh, don't hit me, Jojo, don't hit me. And then, aha, Jojo, you didn't see the drain. And he tries to put some of his body through a drain right next to him, but you know, JoJo gives him that actually we never spoke about Star Platinum.
Oh yeah, actually it's true. Well, Star Platinum is like it's very kind of bland actually. It's just really strong, it has super fast speed and precision, and that's really it. It has a very short range. Like he can't make it go past I think around like 10 feet or something of himself.
Yeah.
Whereas some people like Kakyoin can make his go like 100 meters and stuff, you know, crazy shit.
And if you want to speak about Homage to Fist of North Star, his attack is basically Kenshiro's 100 hands. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. You can't tell me that's not a Homage to Fist of North Star.
Oh no, it definitely is.
So we got to move on to actually one of the most pivotal points of the series is when we get I don't want to, the scene where again it starts with Polnareff in his room again and again. He sees someone in the mirror kind of stalking him, fucking with him, leads him out into the street, and then we get two stand users. The one that's the cowboy with the gun stand, what's his name again?
Halhos.
And then we get the mirror stand, who basically, I'm just going to summarize, this ends up being the death, or the first death of Advor, how do I say his name? Avdol, yeah.
You can just call him Abdul, I mean, that is his name.
Mohammed.
You could also call him Mohammed, yeah.
That fight was really good because obviously Mohammed took a shot for him and then apparently died. Now, I hadn't read the manga, so I'm watching that for the first time. I thought he was dead. He got a shot to the head, he went face down, pool of blood, dead to me. And, Jean-Pierre, well, I'm going to call him Frenchie from now on. Frenchie's reaction was like, good, should have just mind his own business, but then he was crying those manly tears. And that was the first character death in the show, apparently, and I thought it was good. And what followed up was him and the other guy, who I can't pronounce his name right now because I'm terrible, them having to
Kakyoin?
Yeah, Kakyoin. Them having to fight that guy, the mirror guy, and that was another really great battle.
Yeah, I think part of what makes this fight really great, and just the series in general, is, first of all, when I was reading the manga, I thought Abdul died too, because they fucking killed Jonathan, so why is anybody safe? So that's one of the things that's like you're never quite sure. Usually nobody's safe for certain, except for like in this case, Jotaro's gonna make it to Dio. But the other thing that it's kind of hinted in this particular battle a lot, but becomes a theme later on, especially heavily in the next story arc, is to reveal your power is to reveal your weakness. So a lot of Kakyoin was trying to stop Polnareff from fighting the two of them, and even Abdul was before he got shot. Was like, look, we don't know what their powers are. We can't fucking fight them. They have a plan. This is a trap. They're gonna fucking kill us because we don't know what their powers are, or in other words, we don't know what their weaknesses are. And that's one of the things that makes JoJo's Bizarre Adventure great. It's like I was talking about how it's more of how you can use your stand versus how powerful it is or whatever.
Yeah.
It's constantly a battle of wits, and that's what makes it great. That's what makes it fresh. And
the funny thing is, right from that episode, as soon as he dies, and then they continue their journey without him, then we get the episode we spoke about earlier, with Joseph having a stand, having that thing like a person growing out of his hand. And we got to talk about Joseph and his English, because that is just comedy gold.
Oh man, that's half of what makes that's half of what makes Stardust Crusaders like really fucking funny. It's his English. He doesn't even use that much English in in Battle Tendency, but it's like the character from the Joseph from Battle Tendency versus the Joseph in Stardust Crusaders is like cranked all the way up on high for humor.
There's only one problem with that, and even though I love it so much, and it's not a problem for me, because if you guys don't know, we're talking about the original Japanese dub, where Joseph speaks English. Oh my god! Holy shit! He just says these little catchphrases in English, because he's an Englishman, if you guys forgot. But my question is, in the English dub, it isn't going to work, is it?
I don't think it's going to work, dude.
It's going to make him sound really corny, so I'm so glad I never watched English dub. Like, you didn't want me to anyway, and it's not out yet, but they're going to dub it. And I really like the past dub, but that very common joke of him, trying to speak English, or his bad English, even though he's British, it's just a translation thing. Actually, you know what? In the manga, does he do that as well?
Yeah, he does it as well. I have, I'll pull up some pictures so we can put on the video, but it's, they make fun of it, his catchphrases and stuff, and they make it, just make it colorful. It's great.
But you can't tell he's doing English in the manga, but you still caught that joke. So that's a bit of an interesting point, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they might make it work in the dub then, because if they can, you didn't even know it was doing English. It's like, oh my god. So anyway, we're sidetracking, guys. Next, this is what I was talking about, man. One of my favorite episodes. Again, some of these episodes, I feel like they're homage to something in pop culture. They're driving to their destination. They're on a car, and they come across this asshole on the mountains in this car. They can't see who's in the car. Keeps on like ramming the car, or trying to sideline them, and they're like, who the fuck is this guy? And they kind of write it off as like a pest. But this driver nearly gets them run off the road, just keeps fucking with them, and then obviously you find out it's a stand user. Now the reason why this is one of the funniest episodes is because they try to kind of chase this guy down a few times. Like, there's even one scene which is so funny. The guy runs them off the road, and Jotaro uses his powers to make that guy's car flip over instead and go down the ditch over the cliff.
Yeah, he like punches it.
Yeah, he punches
with his stand.
Yeah, and it reverses. So instead of them going down, it's the stand user. But then the guy's stand, his car morphs into this fucking monster car that just comes up the walls and starts chasing them. And again, you might feel, oh, why don't focus on this? It's just this kind of typical funny episode. This is the first guy, for the first time, you actually think you actually killed JoJo. There's a part where he actually pins him down and sets JoJo on fire, and you see JoJo actually go, oh, and it explodes. And the funny thing is, you get your first fourth wall breaking moment where the guy turns to the camera and says, "And that's the end of part for you, JoJo."
That's why you like this so much.
Well, number one, he actually looks like he actually kills Jotaro, and he does that fourth wall breaking joke. Yeah,
it's pretty good. I mean, it's definitely an interesting battle, like, because most of the time, their stands are fighting each other, and it looks more like martial arts sort of brawling sort of deal. But this one, they're actually in a vehicle, and they're trying not to fall off the cliff and shit while this guy's fucking with them.
It just reminds me of those old horror movies. Like, what's that movie called again? I put it on the screen. There's a movie about these guys getting chased by a trucker all through the fucking movie. They even made two parts. The movie was so successful, they made it a 3-part. I think it's called Headlights or oh shit.
No, it's something else.
It's a one-word term. I just can't. It's like Stalked or something. But it's a really good movie anyway. I don't know if you seen. You know what movie I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. It has you don't see the guy, the trucker who's chasing them, but his voice is the same guy, the Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. That's
it. Exactly right. So anyway, moving on. The next is a 2-part that old boy actually alluded to, was when the stand user that killed Avdol, the stand user's mother that killed Avdol. No, the mirror guy. Shit, the mirror stand who died, who got killed by those guys, wants revenge on the team. It's an old woman, and she has the stand power of basically puppeteering the dead, you know, using them as mannequins. And the reason why this is so fun, this is another episode where they're picking on, you know, Jean-Pierre Polnareff.
Oh, poor Polnareff.
And this woman and by the way, this woman, the way she's animated, she looks like a fucking hideously disgusting, freakish woman. They do some crazy shit with her face that is super freaky. Reminds me so much of
when she's like, yes, lick it. Her face is so fucking like freaky, dude.
Yeah, she freaked the shit out of me. And there's a scene in particular where, again, very much like horror based, Polnareff is hiding in a well, not a closet, hiding in a toilet. How could I forget?
Yep,
He's
hiding
in the toilet, looking through a peephole, and she's got all these mannequins after him. And then JoJo does this thing of, even in this most serious moments where they're going to kill, they turn it into the most dark, twisted comedy. This woman just wants to kill him, but then she decides, I'm not just going to kill him. This guy is in the most disgusting, depraved, disgusting toilet of all time. She's got a hole through his tongue, and she's dragging his tongue into that disgusting toilet. And it is the funniest shit.
I thought it was funnier when he has to explain why he needs disinfectant. And they're fucking with him.
Well, that's what afterwards. But that's what afterwards. They're all laughing. He licked the toilet, and even JoJo, and he was like laughing. Even he was like, it was so funny. It was so funny. And they turned that whole battle into levity. And obviously, JoJo came and actually killed her. And again, JoJo shows his smarts, and how he defeated her was very clever and very. I don't want to say horrible. He killed. She was evil.
Actually, first of all, he didn't kill her, but he incapacitated her. But the way he figured out, because he wasn't 100% sure if she was a stand user or not trying to attack him, he faked her out using his brain by, he caught her calling him by his name, even though he made sure nobody would call him by his name. And then she said she used, like, the guest registry, and he actually wrote Q-Toro instead of Jotaro.
Yeah. You're right. And you know what? Joe didn't kill her, because in the next episode, she's in one of my favorite episodes, where they come against a stand user who has one of the weakest powers, but the most deadliest. Is a stand user his stand is like some miniature bee-type creature that goes into Joseph's brain and plants a devil seed. Basically, he's going to kill Joseph in 10 minutes. And because of that, if you attack this guy, his stand will emphasize that pain on whoever his stands inside. Well, if I didn't say it clear enough, his stands inside Joseph's brain, and every time if someone hits him, he will call Joseph like 1,000,000 times, or 1,000 times, 100 times more pain.
Something worse. I mean, it was actually one of the funniest moments to me is when he first shows up. You never do this, right? You don't announce what your powers are or anything, but he's all ready to do that. He's like starting to talk shit to them. He's like, yeah, you can't hit me. Before he can finish the sentence, Jotaro punches him hella fast.
This is one of the only episodes in the whole show. I wouldn't say Jojo gets beaten up, but he is demeaned. This is the most demeaning episodes for Jotaro, the most coolest character. This guy, he's like, hey man, if you want your granddad to live, you're gonna be my slave. You're gonna do whatever I say. And through the whole episode, this guy is just fucking with Jotaro. He punches him. He makes him become a bridge. He makes him steal shit and then gets himself beaten up. And all the time, Jotaro is just brewing. Then there's a point where Jotaro starts writing something down. The guy's like, what you write down? Just what the hell you write down? I'm writing down everything I owe you. Because when this is over, I'm going to pay back everything you've done to me and then some. And when the guy got his comeuppance, it was amazing. It was so fucking hilarious. It was so funny. I mean, how could that not be one of the funniest episodes? This is comedy gold. This was black comedy gold.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you get with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You get, like, unique situations, and they can have good action, they can have good horror, but they also know how to use humor to kind of accentuate everything.
Well, guys, you're getting bored of me telling my favourites. I'm going to let Old Boy speed things up because we're not going to be here forever because we could be. And now I've got a long list. The Old Boy, tell us some of his favourite episodes. Let's make it, let's switch from, let's be fair.
Some of my favourite episodes. I think it's kind of bittersweet the way it ends and everything, but I think the one where Polnareff meets this guy, where if you touch his shadow, you lose your age. Like, you start going backwards in age.
Yep.
And that one is like he's degressing in age, and the guy is, you know, a grown-ass man, so he can easily kill a kid. And he just has to use his brains to outsmart this guy. In the meantime, because he's a kid, like, a local woman takes him in, and, like, she shows him kindness and everything. But halfway through that, you know, where you think he's safe, the attacker gets the woman, basically turns her into a fetus, so now Polnareff is on a time crunch. I thought that was a pretty good episode for Polnareff specifically. It's a shame, though, I don't think anything ever came of that later on, but kind of hope for him that something works out, because he is actually, like, throughout the journey, he actually is kind of girl crazy.
That guy was one of the most disturbing villains of all time. He likes picking on the weak. He has this thing about cleanliness. And you just see him, in the beginning, he kicks a fucking kid. There's a scene where he's strangling Polnareff as a kid. Just the image of him strangling him underwater, that was really risky. I thought, fucking hell, man, he's fucking drowning the kid. And he's enjoying, he just says, I love killing the young. I love picking on the young. And turning this woman into a fetus was so horrible. And the way Polnareff actually defeated him in the end was clever as well. A bit of luck, probably more cleverness than luck, but you got it, man. One of your favorite, another good episode to pick. So pick another one.
There's so many episodes, like you said. I think.
Well, let me ask you one that was going to speak about. Remember, I told you there was an episode where someone fucks with JoJo's clothing.
Are you talking about the one with Oingo Boingo?
No, I'm talking about the guy who can only. Oh, sorry, not the guy. The baby stand user who can only attack you in your fucking dreams.
I don't remember his clothing ever getting fucked with, but that was a really good episode too, because, like, the way Death 13 works, the baby stand is you can't manifest your stands because you're unconscious, so you're helpless. And this is going back to that horror theme where it's fucking scary, man. Like, he puts you in a dream and you can't do anything. You just pray, basically, unless somebody accidentally wakes you up. But I don't remember the clothing part.
The clothing part is when when he finally gets the other three into his dream, because the whole episode's one of the best, keep saying it, one of the best episodes, because Kakyoin, if I'm saying his name right, Kakyoin,
the way the episode was played out, though, is like everybody thought Kakyoin was starting to go nuts.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it was a great horror, I mean, so much inspiration. It was like a horror episode, and they couldn't remember being in the dream. But what I'm talking about, JoJo's clothing, he goes, when JoJo finally gets in, basically, he starts fucking with their clothes, and the chain on JoJo's thing grows really big and starts to choke him. He starts choking him with that chain on his jacket. And
okay, I remember that now.
Yeah, that's why I was like, it's one of the times they use that flamboyant clothing to his advantage. I was like, I bet you like that chain now, JoJo.
Oh, poor JoJo. But you know what I remember from that scene more is when Joseph's hand gets super big. He's like, holy shit!
Ah, yeah. Joseph. His hand was bigger than space itself. Man, that was just another great one. But you know what we got to talk about, man? Coming to the tail end of the first season of Stardust, just before they get to Egypt, they make a little detour. And again, we mentioned this before, Avdol's been kind of sidelined. Well, sorry, not sidelined. They thought he was dead. This is another highlighted episode where they focus on Polnareff, or Frenchie, however you want to say it. And he meets the stand. What's the stand's name again?
I don't remember what the stand's name is, but I remember it always says "Hail to you."
It's a stand that kind of grants wishes. It kind of reminds me of the whole monkey paws effect, where he grants you the wish you ask, but you kind of get more than you expected. Now, I like this episode because it was, again, they focused on this Frenchie guy. Once again, the stand apparently brings back his sister. And actually, it's not the greatest episode. I just like it because, one, you find out Avdol's not dead. Two, you get this thing, I guess you could call it character development for Frenchie. And three, they play off a really good tail end joke, which I thought was kind of harsh, where everybody knew that Avdol wasn't dead. except for Frenchie. And
yeah, they always fuck with him.
Yeah, it's really fucked up because I was like, all right, man, you know, but they have a good reason because you got a big mouth to deal with it, figured out. You know what? It was fucked up, but if, you know, the stakes are pretty high, so.
Can't be any higher, man.
No, they can be, actually. And they're going to be when they finally get to Egypt. And we're moving on to the second part, or I don't know what they called it, Adventures in Egypt, this part 2 on the web or whatever, but I think we're going to start this off by talking about one of the most iconic fights in the JoJo franchise. People love this fight. And even in the old anime, they set a few episodes away from that. And there's only 6 episodes. I think they set 2 episodes or one. I don't know. It was in the original anime as well. And I want you to talk about this one because I know this is a favorite of yours as well.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Maybe I just have a thing for blind guys. I mean, when I was a little kid, I watched a lot of black and white films of the Zatoichi series, which is about a blind samurai.
Right.
But this one in particular, they're trying to fight. Well, they're not trying to fight. They're attacked by this blind guy who he has a really strong sense of hearing. You can hear from a very far distance. He basically uses his walking cane like a sonar to his ear. So his stand is like he controls water. I guess the more water he gets, the bigger and stronger his stand gets. So starting out, it's like really small, and it's like, you know, because it's so small, and because they're on the desert, they need water, but they don't have a whole lot. It's kind of like you know, it has that horror aspect to it where there's that suspense, that tension. It's really good and this is the part where up until here, the action is basically Team Jotaro just plowing through everybody. I mean, they do get cornered and stuff. They have to use their wits to get out of it, but they're usually not in that great of danger. But this fight onwards, they're in a lot of danger. Like, this is clearly where things get ramped up. The enemies are on a whole different level, starting with this guy, and it's a very interesting fight because basically he can't see them, but he can hear them, so he has a way to sense them from a long distance. They don't know where the fuck he is, but they know he's got to be within X amount of range, which is still a far distance, but they're trying to locate him. They're trying to work around not giving off like sounds and vibrations and stuff while basically this guy's waiting to ambush them, even though they know it's coming. And it's just a really good game of cat and mouse until eventually they manage, well, not they, but Jotaro manages to close the distance on him. And during the fight, this is where Kakyoin gets taken out of the story for a while too.
Yeah. And they introduce a new stand user, an ally to the Jotaro team, that also fucking dog.
Iggy, yeah. He's great.
Oh, he is. And to my surprise, little down the line, he would have a fantastic episode we'll get to later. But what I will say, starting this, the Adventures in Egypt, there was another thing I noticed. The first season really was kind of more episodic. Well, this season in particular, most of the episodes are 2-parters on the one battle. So this season actually moves a bit faster for me because every battle is 2 episodes, where some of the ones in the last season were actually 1.
That seems like kind of like an oxymoron, because even though it's a longer sort of story for each story that comes up, it makes it feel shorter to you.
Well, let me say this the right way. Because you're getting single fights double the length, it just feels shorter because it's a shorter... Each fight gets you closer to the end, where in the first season, it just feels like you got a lot of fights, where these ones you got bigger fights, but in smaller number. And to me, watching it in bulk, it seems shorter that way. Obviously, if it was week by week, it wouldn't seem any different. But if you're watching it in bulk, and then 5 fights down the line, and you're at the end, other than the other episode where you got 10, it feels shorter, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You asshole.
What? I mean, like, I get where you're coming from, but...
I had to explain myself! Goddammit. Why? Why did you make me explain myself?
Because the listeners probably would have thought you were on crack.
Goddamn you guys. Anyway, so the next episode I want to notice, the next episode I want to mention is actually one of the curveball episodes, and one of the only few for me, which is specifically focused on levity. And I thought it was okay, but this was one of the more, I was going to say weird, but then I know you say bizarre episodes that focus on a brother duo, where one of the brothers can actually shapeshift his face, and the other one can actually draw manga predicting the future events.
Yeah, that's the one I kept bringing up. I thought you were talking about. This is like what I was talking about, where they think outside the box, because like one of these guys clearly can't fight at all or anything, and it's coming down to the application of his power. So they try to use what he can do, which is predicting what's going to happen, but only the end results. And the other guy has to try to stick with it. And the problem that comes up actually later on is the guy panics and he doesn't trust the other guy's power, and that's why they fail.
Yeah, and you know, just going back to something you said when you said that this season the action and the stands kind of ramp up. Well, I actually felt like this part of this season was more bizarre. As we spoke about the manga kid and his shape-shifting brother, which again, just from the previous part, you spoke about the Blind Sandman, it seemed a little bit off to me. Then the next two battles I want to speak about was really like, okay, I'm still loving the creativity, but it kind of was like, this is definitely more bizarre than just straight up action. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's the one where Jojo and Frenchie have to fight. Well, you actually know it starts off with Poneglyph actually coming across this stand user that is actually it's just the first stand that doesn't have a stand user.
Yeah, it's just a sword that's sitting there.
And it's a double episode where first Poneglyph has to fight it on its own, which was really good, and actually it harks back to the point where you made, where we find out Poneglyph has an extra a move with his stand where he can shoot it off at a side.
Yeah, he can shoot off the blade of his rapier.
Yeah, so he beats it in that episode, but in the next episode, where they're meant to be meeting Joseph and Advil for breakfast, they have to fight the blades guy again because I think it can basically possess anyone it touches or anyone that picks it up.
Anybody that pulls it out of its sheath.
Yeah.
Or is holding it when it's not sheathed, which I think a police officer pulls it out of the sheath and Polnareff ends up accidentally grabbing it.
And then Jojo has to fight it, and it gets even more powerful. It seems every time he fights someone, he just learns their moves and gets more strength.
Yep, one of those kind of guys.
Yeah, and again, those two episodes are really good. And then on the other side, you've got Joseph and Avdol fighting the magnet chick.
Oh yeah, now this is both bizarre and humorous. It's one of the funnier moments, I think, when they end up getting stuck together because she can make people magnetized. And
upon first watching this, I just thought it was going to be very playful, but it eventually gets more dangerous. Like she first tries to get Joseph stuck to an escalator, which then he gets his neck ripped off, which is hilarious. Then later, she gets Joseph and Advil stuck together and nearly run over by a train.
Yep.
And then when it reaches this peak of intensity, they actually think they got her in a pincer attack, when she turns it around on them and is actually going to fuck them up with some electrical cabling and everything else in the fucking area. She's covering them with cars and trains and all this shit, and she's about to electrocute Joseph, and it's a great turnaround how Joseph uses his signature, please, let me go, please let me go. He's like, no, I'll even sleep with you, Joseph, you're a good looking guy. But you've already lost. And then the way they beat her is really funny and a bit brutal.
That's pretty fucked up. I actually thought she died until they said she didn't.
And that's a point I should bring up as well. In this series, both parts, they kill some people, and some of them they kind of comedically let live, or they were incapacitated, and anime kind of highlights they were incapacitated. Was that the same in the manga?
Yeah, it was.
I thought if the anime was just trying to tone it down.
No, it's some of them it's kind of arbitrary. Some of them they let go, and some of them they kill.
And actually, to that point, going back to that Anubis the Blade, he murdered I think he was one of the most murderous stands. He just outright sliced open so many people. But in the end, and JoJo does this quite a bit, sometimes they try to end on a very humorous note. Like at the end, he got flung out of circumstance. He got kicked into the sky and was heading into the ocean, and it was very comedic. No, let me land on the ship. No, let me land with the fishes. And they made some levity out of his demise, and it's a funny thing to tackle, trying to make comedy out of such a destructive force. It kind of worked though.
Yeah, I would say it worked more than it didn't.
And they do that a lot on a lot of the fights. It kind of ends on a bit of levity, even the more serious ones. Even Dio in certain ways, to be honest with you, but I guess we'll get to that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially when we get to Dio, I gotta compare it to the original hand-drawn one too.
So anyway, your turn, man. Bring up another one you liked.
You know, one that comes to mind when it comes to, like I was saying, where you have stands that aren't necessarily intended for straight fighting, and it comes down to the application of it. that originality that you get from inside of a fighting series even.
Sure.
Is there's actually a pair of brothers, so it's like I think it's back-to-back fights if I'm not mistaken, but
you're mistaken because there's a big gap between the two, which I was a bit surprised about, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, my bad. Well, the first one is the older brother. They end up having to fight him. This guy's like addicted to gambling, right?
Yeah.
So he ends up taking out he ends up taking out almost everybody, and they even say later on this guy's like the most dangerous guy they've fought so far. But he first bets against partner of something that seems like arbitrary, where he takes some meat and he throws 2 pieces, and he has them bet on the cat gonna take the left or the right piece of meat. So of course the cat does what he wants because it's his cat, and that kind of sets the tone for him being like, obviously this guy's a weaselly little shit. He's on the up and up. So the whole time with each sort of battle he has against Team Joestar, they pick a game, and they think they got him because this is their game, and they have a trick to it. But he ends up taking him out, right? And it ends up with him against Jotaro, who is he's supposed to be the calmest, the coolest, the best, and in terms of gambling, the most ideal. And they play poker, so he ends up betting so much that Darby is unsure if he's bluffing or not, and that's kind of, I'm not going to really say whether or not he is, because it's a pretty good moment. It's a pretty tense moment.
I have to spoil that part. The reason why I have to spoil it is because up to that point, I was a bit annoyed as an anime viewer, like, oh, Jotaro's so cool, he's going to win, but how is he going to win? This is one of the points where I wanted the anime to show me Jotaro's wit over than just, him being a cool character, and the reason why he did is what tipped the guy over the edge. Not knowing JoJo's hand is tense, but the thing that tipped the guy over the edge is the threat he might lose and what Dio would do to him. That alone, Dio, and that's what killed him. Just the thought. He couldn't even take... He had a good hand. But the 1% chance he would lose, thinking about what Dio would do to him, literally, I actually thought it would have been funnier if he actually had a heart attack, because he looked like he literally had
he looked like he was going to.
Yeah, and I was just like, that was so... And that's what JoJo really betted on, the fear. Not just his hand, but the fear. And that was the most clever thing, because I'm like, knowing Dio from the previous anime as well, that would scare the shit out of me as well. Just the fear of, if I lose, I'm dead.
At this point, as long as jumping straight to Stardust Crusaders, that Dio he's a pretty fucking evil guy. I mean, looking at his relationship with Jonathan and some of the stuff he did, like tricking somebody to set his dog on fire. I mean, there is no real explanation for that other than you're just an evil son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're getting to the finish line now. The last two, before we get to the main last final encounter, actually it's a few for them to get to, but I wasn't going to bring this episode up, but I complained before about not liking the opening and ending theme to this part of Stardust Crusaders, the Egypt part. Now, near the end of this Egypt series, they have another levy episode where the gun guy,
Horse,
he teams up with a manga kid. It's a very comedic episode where they're trying to beat the whole team, Polaris or Frenchie and Team Joestar, and it's just a funny, circumstantial, predicting the future comedy episode. The reason why I'm bringing this up, not because of the episode, because honestly the episode to me was okay, it wasn't anything special. They changed the ending theme.
Oh, yeah, it was good actually. I like those ones.
This is what I like about the animators, and the reason why I want to bring this up, because David Production are having fun with the animation, and that showed me that these guys love just animating. They didn't have to do that, and this is a very nonchalant, just levity episode, just comedy episode. But that end song and that, I was like, wow, man, these guys are having fun animating the show, which is making me enjoy it even more. It's when you see that kind of labor of love, and people always commend Disney and Pixar for doing that. The animators are having fun just creating these characters. When I see that in animation, it makes me love it even more. And just those little, you can call it just little touch, but it made me really like the show. It's just those little things, and even I can go into even little details, even more things. But there's little things like that the animators do in the show, especially with the tension, or whenever there's a boss, or whenever there's a big fight, you see the little scribbles on the screen, the blue lines, the kanji lines going. tension or dread, or you know what I'm talking about.
You mean like Kaiji, where it's like Zawa, Zawa, Zawa?
Exactly. And I was going to bring up Kaiji when you spoke about the gambling, because that just reminded me of Kaiji so much as well, the gambling guy. But the next episode I want to speak about is, honestly, of all the series, if you want to speak about unexpected, awesome, one of the best top to bottom creative action-packed episodes, is not even specifically about any big stand news that you was expecting, JOJO'S and Frenchie. No, it's about the fucking dog fighting a watchbird or an eagle over Dio's tower.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. I mean, up until that point, he also just seemed like a dog. He never talked or anything, and in this episode, they actually gave him a voice, and you can hear his inner monologue and stuff, his thoughts. Kind of narrates the episode, which is a neat change.
Before I go into this episode, because I need to dig a little bit deeper into this two-parter, how did this play out in the manga? Because I was watching these animals fight in a manga form. I wonder if it was as exciting and as dynamic as they made in the anime.
It's kind of tense. I mean, it's like I said, though, in general, when it comes to Stardust Crusaders, I like the action animated better than I like it off panel, and it's literally the same. They just straight animated it.
The reason why I love this so much is because it's got a little bit of everything. It's got this arsehole character, which I never really thought I'd get to see fight in any major way. But the enemy he's fighting, the power this bird has, this crazy ice power that it just murders people, murders dogs, and it chases this dog in the city, in the sewer, and in the fucking sea.
Yeah, it doesn't give a fuck. It's like, you know what? It's like Honey Badger that can fly. It don't give a fuck.
It's fucking relentless. And to me, it's even, I mean, this like, shouldn't you go back to the tower to guard? Because, you know, this dog's even like, look, man, I don't even want that to do with this. This bird don't give a fuck. He's like, no, you're dead. Like, you gonna die. I'm gonna chase you. And, you know, that bird is cool, but the dog as well, he gets in some great shots. And it's actually I keep saying it's one of the best battles.
I like every battle
I know. That's how I feel every time watching this. I'm dick riding the show hard enough, dick riding anything, I think, in a long time. But honestly, I never expected the animals having stands is one thing. The animal action, I mean, this was the fight that finally showed me that stands are fucking awesome. You can't do this without a stand with a fucking animal. And me watching it and thinking it's cool, it's not possible. So I got to commend the manga author for this. This was great, and this was the last battle before we get into the final.
No. But, you know, you're talking about Iggy, especially a fight like one of my favorite fights in any manga, any anime, anything, where it's just like holy shit. Is when Polnareff and Iggy end up fighting Vanilla Ice. This guy can basically fold his stand, which is like a humanoid stand. He can fold it around himself, go inside of it, and it creates like a pocket dimension that just destroys anything it physically touches, but it's invisible. And while he's doing this, he can't see, so that's like his weakness with his power. And it's super tense. It's so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What's his face? Right before this, right before this, Polnareff is saved by Abdul. He actually gives up his life to save him. So you know at this point people are dying too. So it's like Polnareff gets like super fucked up in this fight. Iggy is there helping him. It's there. The tension is there. The action is really neat. The way that he beats him is it takes a little bit of time to develop, but it's just I thought he was gonna die in this fight. I mean,
honestly, he should have died. But
he should have.
He should have died. He shouldn't have died. You know what? Let me backtrack. I have to backtrack just a little bit because you have to go back to Avdol. Now, if you want to talk about something I think is really dark irony, because this is right. You took my lead. I was just about to go here. Before they get into the castle, where they kind of split off, we'll talk about JoJo in a minute because they split off. Avdol gives a speech. When we go in, no matter what happens, don't look back. Don't save each other. And I was like, okay. And, Frenchie's like, okay, I understand. The first thing he does, the opening thing he does is save Frenchie and it kills him. Now, the mangaka has got some twisted sense of irony. But I have to admit, man, I was a bit annoyed. Because I really wanted to see some more Avdol action. And I actually thought he was going to die on this last battle anyway. But the way he got taken out pretty much the same way he got taken out in season 1. Like, so quick, without even fighting, not even getting one shot out. It was pretty sad. But in saying that, it left the effect it was meaning to have. It showed the stakes for this guy was on a whole nother level. But I just thought they did have, though, a bit. I'm like, come on, man. Come on. He could have had just a bit of a fight. This guy got wiped away like that. It was I don't know. I want to say it was disappointing, but it served a purpose. It just showed the dread and the terror of this stand user. But still, I just thought, come on, man.
It's even worse than the original hand-drawn one. He's the one that gets put in the coffin, and then he just goes blam like that. He actually figures out what Dio's power is because of that, and then like, nope, and they kill him before he can say it.
Did you not feel a little bit disappointed about not seeing him have a little bit of a more of a fight, though? Is it just me?
Especially with how long the series arc was, I would have liked him to have 1 or 2 more fights. I think he had like 1.
That's what I said, yeah.
Besides fighting Polnareff, I think he had like 1, and he could have used like 1 or 2 more. Honestly, I agree.
But anyway, and on top of that, Frenchie, this battle is again more luck. He had help every step of the way. Iggy saved him at the last minute as well, even though he did land the last blow. I honestly didn't believe he would win against this guy on his own. And he didn't. He didn't. But even me, I felt like, okay. The fact he beat the guy, I was like, okay, Dio's got to kill him straight away. Like, I just wanted him to Dio just be like, okay, you know, and the fact he didn't die, even to the very end, he still lives. I'm like, this is some bullshit. And I don't want to jump to Dio, but he even gets a shot on Dio, he doesn't die. I'm like, this is bullshit. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's go back. So we need to get to the gambler's brother, because we're near the end. People, you know what? Let me stop and say this. People, if you've gotten this far, I apologize for obviously I'm a fanboy for this anime. I think I've come to realize that through this recording myself.
Yeah, you definitely are very passionate about this. A lot more than I am.
I'm passionate about great shit, and this is great. So now this is the point where JoJo, Joseph, and Kyojin fight the gambler's younger brother,
Kakyoin.
Whatever. And this is a computer game gamble-based battle, which is a funny little upgrade from the poker player. I didn't care that much for this battle, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, I actually was going to skip over it, but you brought it back up. Actually, just so you know, they're playing a Super Famicom, and there's some baseball game that's, you know, famous in Japan, but the one that Kakyoin plays is F-Zero.
Yeah, I thought so. It looked like it, except for they couldn't make it F-Zero because of copyright, obviously. But it was F-Zero.
Yeah.
Was it actually F-Zero in the manga, or are you just saying it was the clone? It was just F-Zero.
No, it's a clone, but it's clearly F-Zero.
Yeah, it's clearly F-Zero. It's clearly F-Zero. But you know, some of the moves he pulled off, you can't pull that in F-Zero. The move where he hit him in the sky and he pushed him all the way through halfway through the course, I'm like, you can't do that in F-Zero.
Okay, well, I don't play racing games, so I didn't know that.
You expose yourself for the non-gamer you are. Anyway, let's move on to the main event now. Dio.
The Waldo!
I'm gonna let you take over. I've spoken too much and I gotta catch my breath.
Okay. So I'm gonna compare this a little bit to the hand-drawn one, because I actually like the hand-drawn, I don't want to say an ending episode, but like the last fights. No, just the last fight I like better than the remake. I don't know what it is. I just feel like it's a higher amped, higher tension. I mean, I watched both of them like back to back. So in the hand-drawn one, there's like a lot more bystander death. It's like super bloody. There's blood everywhere in the hand-drawn finale. Whereas in the remake, I mean, people get hurt, they get killed or whatever, but they kind of tone it down. They don't really show it a whole lot. And also the fight between Jotaro and Dio is just, it feels on a lower. It feels like it's on a lower energy than in the hand-drawn cartoon or the hand-drawn animation. I think Jotaro gets hurt less in the remake, and it just makes it seem like the stakes are less.
Really? I completely disagree. I watched them both back to back. I thought the remake expanded a little bit more on the battle. I thought everything you said, I feel pretty much the opposite. I don't know. There was slight differences, but honestly, there was one big difference, by the way. We'll get to with Joseph. But I honestly liked it. But to say that the hand-drawn one, or the older version, the 1994-5 version, the older one, it was pretty much the same. They did the best of what they had. It was still very high tense. it was fine for the time. It was still, even the first time I watched it, I thought it was okay. But I just thought they expanded upon it in the new one. I really had no problem with it. There were some things. We'll have to get into specifics now. The fact that Polnareff got I'm gonna call it a cheap shot on Dio, and he didn't die after that. I think this is the only time Dio didn't kill someone right after they hit him. Even though he got stabbed through the brain, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he got stabbed through the brain. Honestly, the fact he lived through it bothered me. It really bothers me because no one really lives after touching Dio except for the JOJO'S, so I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I can't really argue that. Everybody else that's touched him immediately died, so I can't think of any exception to that other than Polnareff.
It just feels like the mangaka wants him to live, and that's fine because he's a funny character. But at that point, it just broke. It's almost like he wouldn't live this far. I mean, up to Dio.
You know, actually, the part. This is funny. The part that actually bothered me about that is after Dio threw him off to the side, you know, or actually, I think he hit him. And he couldn't get back up or fight or anything. But that's one of those moments where you probably should have shot your rapier at him and hit him in the head the second time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's actually the part that bothered me about that, because he blindsided him and whatever. Okay.
Most people have died from hits from Dio. I mean, Dio hit Kajin or whatever once and sent him and killed him.
Yeah, I mean, time was frozen, but still, I mean, and you want to talk about scary powers. This is a power that could rule the world, being able to stop time for even, a handful of seconds, which is where it starts out at. That's a pretty scary power, on top of being a vampire.
I think it makes perfect sense that the twist is that JoJo has actually got the same power, and they're ultimately the same stand. I actually think it makes sense because ultimately Dio's using his grandfather's body, and it's kind of one of them generation skip things to me, so it makes perfect sense. I actually think that was great writing.
That's fine too. Actually, I don't think the author knew what he's doing exactly with stance when he started out, but he probably had that long-term idea, because like in the manga, which they correct in the remake of the anime, Dio actually uses Purple Hermit and kind of spies on them in the very beginning of Stardust Crusaders.
Okay, yeah, I think they did mention that in this one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I mean, clearly Dio has some kind of bloodline connection, and through that to Stans as well. Yeah. I mean, you think about Holly, which is Jotaro's mom. She has a very similar looking stand to Purple Hermit, which is Joseph's, her father's. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense to me. I always suspected that.
Yeah, I never once. I thought it was actually good writing, and for some reason, the first time I never predicted it. I never thought it was lame or cheesy. The only thing watching it the second time is I was wondering why Dio never took it. There were so many times he thought he could have killed JoJo, but the thing about Dio is this harpens back to Phantom Blood, because he's so cautious of the JoJo's that he doesn't want to. He was just being very precautious, and it was reasonable. I actually thought, I'll just kill him already, but he's like, no, I want to make sure you're dead. And JoJo had to trick him a few times, so it made sense. Because the first time I thought, no, this doesn't. Maybe I was being lenient the first time, but no. But on the fight, Dio was just being very precautious, killing Jotaro, and he died the right way. The only thing that bothered me, which I kind of forgot, was him sucking Joseph's blood and evolving again to like a Super Saiyan 2, and then actually that was a bit of my complaint. It kind of turned to Dragon Ball Z at the end.
Dude, you want to see a DBZ ending? The 5th story arc has a DBZ ending.
Hey, don't spoil this. Don't say
that. I didn't say anything specific, but I mean, this is worse than that.
No, but they were literally, actually, to be honest with you, this last fight, they were literally fighting themselves, and they were like powered up by Super Saiyans, and they were just fighting each other.
I liked it as an action and everything, but in terms of rules that they established and shit and following it in their own universe, they're doing stuff like flying around. I mean, they show that they use their stands to do these things, but they never did it at any other point in Stardust Crusaders where they like super jump, or they use them where they get flung really hard, so they use them to slow their fall and stuff like that. They kind of go a little crazy with that stuff.
Oh yeah, Dio's flying to chase Joseph.
Well, Dio is a vampire who can fly, so that's different than Jotaro, who's a human, like fucking doing all this shit.
That's true, and he just basically mimics Dio right at the end. But yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I like the last punch he gives Dio. That was awesome. I forgot it was a nice exploding punch. That was pretty fucking awesome. I like that.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot else to say other than to watch it. You want to see great action, you want to see original action, you want to see something that's going to be fresh. 48 episodes basically the entire time. Stardust Crusaders. I mean,
you're wrong. I got something else to say. I got another quibble.
Go ahead. I mean,
look, man. Joseph died. I look. Joseph's my favorite character in this franchise. It's probably going to still be my favorite character. Dio kills him, and then apparently a blood transfusion. He should be a fucking vampire. It doesn't make any sense. How does the blood transfusion? Dio kills him by slicing his neck open. He evolves. His spirit comes out. He says goodbye to just about like the Lion King. The end. Then he revives him. I can revive him. I'm like, okay, look, reviving him is not even the problem. Blood transfusion with a vampire. How is he not a vampire?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Is it just me? How is Joseph now not a vampire? He took Dio's blood.
No, I understand that. I mean, that is something. The only thing I can think of is he was dead, which is kind of weird because, I mean, I still would think the blood would do it, but it still leads to a really funny, like, moment, I think, when Joseph pretends to be Dio.
Oh, that was great. Thank you for bringing it up. And that was funny.
You actually thought he was Dio, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Because look, he took the blood. I was like, oh, you fucking idiot. Of course, he blood transfusion. Unless, obviously, I was waiting for him to say, Star Platinum cleanse his blood. I was like, oh, here we go. Star Trek Into Darkness again.
Okay, no, but no explanation. He's good.
That just said to me, the mangaka loves Joseph as much as I do. Because he's clearly dead.
Yeah, they even showed his soul, they showed to send him off. And it's like, I mean, I like the character a lot, so I'm not going to complain. But it's still, he was dead, and he shouldn't have come back to life.
You see, guys, I can dick ride something, but I can also criticize it. I was just like, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't complaining because to me, and to wrap up now, I'll say, to me, this is the perfect sequel. I loved Battle Tendency, and this is like Joseph with his grandson, continuing their journey to even more bizarre adventures. So if I knew that's what this was going to be, fucking hell. Man, this is why it's a Hall of Fame. It builds upon everything they did before, makes it even better. It's different, creative stands, creative battle powers, creative enemies, funny characters. And honestly, I found this to be like a horror comedy to me. An action horror comedy. And the reason why I say horror, because I know it's not horror at all, I'm calling it horror for myself because this anime has so much disgusting horror elements, especially with the animation where the villains are disgusting. There's so many things that are just taken from horror straight. It's not horror. I know it's not horror. But to me, it's like a horror comedy action anime, to me.
It's actually classified as a horror in its genres.
You have just validated me. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. But I mean, I like all the same stuff. I like not just the fact that it has great action and creativity and everything, but it knows, like the first season, they plow through it. The second season, they know how to get you that tension. They know how to make the stakes actually seem like they matter and everything. And they still can mix up and balance the humor, the horror, the good action, the creativity, all that stuff. They can still balance it well, even though they amped up the stakes.
Yeah.
And not fall into any pitfalls like it's the main character or nothing. I hate that shit. I mean, why even have other characters if you're just going to have the main character do everything? Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, and a lot of people have said to me, we'll wrap this up and say, a lot of people have said, you could skip the first two parts and watch this one. The only reason is that you just want to see Jonathan Joestar. That's just so vanilla. That Phantom Blood story is so vanilla. And even Dio's origin, it's not that interesting. It's not that fun. It's whatever. But Battle Tendency to me, just seeing how cool Joseph is, and I'm a completionist. Don't skip anything. Don't. But I'm just saying, people are saying you can watch this on its own. Man, if you have to skip anything, only skip Phantom Blood. Watch Battle Tendency in this. But watch it all. I love JoJo. It's a great series. And these first three parts are fantastic. And, I can't believe that people are saying the next part's even better. Wow.
We'll talk about Diamond is Unbreakable when we talk about Diamond is Unbreakable. But talk about Stardust Crusaders, you have ascending steps from each story arc. And this is... They figured out how to peak it just perfectly, on top of the other two. It's a great journey. If bizarre, it's a great journey.
It is, you see. And your boy Katface Killa's full of them puns too.
I am. Should call me the Punisher.
Don't push it. Don't push it. Guys, I apologize for my just orgasmic fanboyish wilding out of this series. I knew I enjoyed it that much. I can't lie. And if I had my way, this podcast would have been even longer. And the funny thing is, I never thought I'd enjoy this much. Especially when I'd already seen it in another you know, inferior version, being harsh, that's being harsh, but yeah, an inferior version.
That's true, though. It is inferior.
Yeah, but don't watch the old version. Most of you guys didn't even know that existed. There's an old 1990, 2000 that cover 40% of this, 40%, maybe 30%, but just watch this remake. On every level, it surpasses it. Cowboy thinks the last battle's a little bit better. Maybe, but I guess that's personal taste. I'm not going to... Personal taste. Probably, but either way, we've got another one here. But you know what, guys? If you got this far, again, thank you for getting this far. Leave your thoughts on this franchise down below. And again, Katface waited for me to catch up. It's been a long time. Everyone's watching Diamonds Unbreakable now. But at least we can get to Diamonds Unbreakable when everyone else has finished watching it. We'll come out with that review at a much more timely manner. So that review will come out right about the time it ends.
Well, look at how much you love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm assuming you're going to watch it basically as they're airing the last few episodes, and you're going to want to record right away.
That's exactly right. You got it right. So exactly, Diamonds Unbreakable will be coming straight off the hill. So watch out for that review. I'm sure that'll be coming probably near the end of the year, maybe, because I don't know. It's episode 8 or 9 right now.
No, I think they're like on 9 or 10, and they're probably gonna be like everybody else and take a half a year break or whatever and pick it back up in the fall.
All right, guys. So again, thank you. This has been nearly a 2-hour podcast, like a Walking Dead. But you know, if we enjoy something, we're most likely going to elaborate on it. And I'm going to apologize to my buddy Katface Killa for hogging up all his time. Because you know what? You said you love this more than me. How did I become the fanboy? How did that happen?
I think you just like to talk a lot more than I do. Because I mean, like, real talk. I've never really wanted to get a tattoo or anything until I started rewatching these remakes. I was like, you know what? I really want 1 or 2 JoJo's Bizarre Adventure tattoos. So that's something, like, putting a permanent mark on my body is something I always kind of didn't really care about. But I like this stuff enough for it. I mean, but you love talking about this shit.
I love it, but I ain't getting no fucking tattoo, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love it. I love it. I do. It's one of my all-time favorites. When we started this project, it was in my Hall of Fame, one of only 5 titles. Now it's, 6 titles for my Hall of Fame. But still, it's always been up there. And I think when we did the original recording, you were kind of lukewarm about it. And it's because you only saw the hand-drawn anime. Yeah. And it's like, you saw so little of what JoJo's Bizarre Adventures universe actually is.
Yeah.
I'm happy they remade it, so that everybody can see it and check it out, because it's huge in Japan and it's well deserved, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get the box set of this, and I will be watching this again in dub because I love it so much, and I get to watch it again in English and see how it compares. Will we do another podcast about that? Unlikely, but you never know. We'll see. But anyway, guys, I said it before, I'll say it again. Leave your thoughts on the comment section down below on our discussion, on your thoughts of the show, the franchise, what have you. We'll be back with Diamonds Unbreakable very close to its finish airing. But, thanks for sticking it out this long. And I want to thank my buddy Katface Killa for joining me on these duo podcasts.
Yeah, shit.
As always, guys, you can hit the annotations on the right for all the other stuff we do here for animation books, TV shows, what have you. Hit the like button if you like the long discussions. I don't know why we're doing these long ones. It's just happening naturally. So, guys, don't hate us. But thanks for listening. If you're on the iTunes podcast, thanks for listening on iTunes. Leave a comment or a rating on iTunes. It would really help us grow and evolve. And until then, again, thanks for watching. And we'll see you again right here on Planet Tyro.
See you when we see you.
Peace.
Out.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, good! Oh no! Oh, God! Oh no! Oh my God! Oh no! Oh shit! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Holy shit! Help me! Oh my God! Son of a bitch! Oh my God! Oh my God! Son of a bitch!